Great. Thanks, Franziska and Linda, for your contribution, and to all the other speakers. We have now an additional 15 to 20 minutes for question and answer, so feel free to put any questions into the chat box. If you have any questions afterwards, you have all the contact details from all the speakers, in particular me, and can get questions through to me as well. I want to start off with probably one question that comes up fairly often, which is how to engage. Basically, from our perspective, you have your contact people within Invest-NI headquarters, your client executives, your ITAs, and then obviously this will be channeled through to Invest-NI Germany as well. We obviously, as you have seen, we are working in this network of different organizations, including DIT. You could also engage with DIT directly. Usually it's a cooperation of all of us, depending on resources and competencies. So I would probably ask David or Rafe to contribute to that as well, as far as engagement goes. David and Rafe, are you there?
Yep. Hopefully, there's David.
Hello.
Yeah, basically. Sorry?
Rafe, do you want to start? I think Rafe might be muted. But anyway, I'll just make a quick start. There's lots of ways the DIT in Germany can help Northern Ireland companies. I'm David Johnson, by the way. I work in the expert growth team in Düsseldorf, and I originate as well from Northern Ireland, so I've got a great interest in seeing Northern Ireland companies flourish here in the German market. It's really good as an insight, first of all, to visit our Germany market guide on the internet, and it's www.great.gov.uk, and I'll put a link into the chat just after this so as people can follow. And it covers sort of like all the information that any company needs to be able to export into Germany. It'll cover trade barriers and tariffs and taxes that raises costs, delays, or even stop you from exporting, things like that. It'll cover all that information. Also duties and customs and packaging and label information. So it's full of really relevant information for any company to have a look at before thinking about exporting into Germany. There's also our trade hub in Prague, which covers all the general inquiries for the EU markets. And if there's anything specific for Germany, they'll forward it on to us as well. And I'll put the link into the chat as well for that. There's also our direct email address, which is ditgermany.inquiries@fcdo.gov.uk, which comes into our inbox, and we will deal with directly here. I'll put that in the chat as well. And of course, there's also the link to the Germany Trade and Investment, which has lots of market reports on all the different various sectors. Very, very interesting reading there to be achieved. And you know, just to mention that the German market it's not an easy market to penetrate. It needs a lot of preparation before you try to approach the German market. It's good to have a PDF flyer in German, because the Germans do like the initial approach to be in their own language. The flyer should also be highlighting the unique selling points of your product, showing good illustrations to catch the attention and start a dialogue with potential contacts, and even get out to the market, visit the relevant trade shows, or perhaps even exhibit, learn about the competition, and of course the best route to market. And I'll hand over maybe to Rafe to follow on from that, and I'll add these links into the chat.
Great, thanks, David. Hopefully you can hear and see me now. Yep, good. Well, I think I don't want to add much more, and I know that we're coming to the end of the coming to the end of the session. But as we said at the beginning, I am both the current director for DIT in Germany and also the Consul General in Dusseldorf. And really, I just want to sort of, in a sense, round up what has already been said and endorse everything that we've heard. Very fascinating presentation earlier, and very good also to have the ambassadors session at the beginning. I'm sorry, I can't claim to be from Northern Ireland. Sorry about that. But just to say that we are all, I mean, as has been said, we're all here together to, if you like, support you as businesses. It may sound a little bit complicated. There are a lot of us in the market, but I think the point to make is that, you know, put your inquiries in, and they'll get sent to the right place to look after. I mean, I suppose Marcus is perhaps the point Marcus made. I mean, Marcus is one person covering a very large territory. We are 30+ people working for DIT, so we have a bit more resource there. So basically, we can all work together to support you, and I think that's the main message that I would like to give. And you heard it all already about the huge number of opportunities that are coming up, well, already exist, but are coming up in Germany across so many different areas, and with obviously the challenges of the future, whether it's with clean growth or other things, or digitization you already heard about. But as I said, we're all there to make your life easier and better, not to complicate it. So I hope that between us we can do that, and wish you all great success, and look forward to working with you. Thanks.
Yeah, I want to touch on this point, Invest in I and DIT, how does this work together? Obviously, this is a hand-in-hand cooperation kind of approach. It's basically, as I said, down to what sector are you in, where do we have like the biggest, the greatest competencies and resources. So we basically work hand in hand with DIT. First point of contact to make it easier for companies could be Invest in I, or should be Invest in I, your ITAs, your client executives, and then this is channeled through, and we bring resources in as needed. So that's really, you know, just to make clear how this all works together. David, you touched on this point of language. That's a question that always, or that quite often comes up. You know, how important is language? And the clever answer to this is it depends. It depends on the sector. Our experience is, you know, in particular with regards to small and medium-sized companies, finding distributors, agents, etc. It actually matters a lot. But there's also other areas where we found that it is important to have like your German resources, or bring us in as a German resource. We're more than happy to do that. And Nathan is on the call here from Breitbart. He touched on that in his activities on in Germany. Probably he can give us a bit of an insight on your experience on the language bit.
Hi everybody. Yeah, I think with regards to the language barrier, it's something that's obviously something that has to be managed and handled. But as I said, you know, we haven't found it to be completely restrictive at this point. You know, and it's maybe the market that we're in has been more supportive of that. But as long as you're prepared to engage and find a way to engage with the language, that a lot of conversations can be dealt with in English, if that's the best way for you to provide your technical information, as long as translations in German can also be provided to ensure clear clarity on those points.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. Probably another point, another question that came up fairly often over the past was events and networking opportunities. Obviously, Linda and Franziska are probably the best person to touch on that. Could you give us a bit of an insight on that, Linda and Franziska, please?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Mark. Well, I mean, as Linda mentioned before, Germans are not natural networkers. So there is really the need for events, trade shows, trade events in Germany. That's why we are trade show country with most of the largest fairgrounds and largest industry trade shows and leading trade shows in Europe. So it's very important to always not only know the landscape of your sector, as mentioned before, to know what kind of trade shows, industry events are happening. And of course, that's where we are always happy to support, because it's really important to, at a certain time, also put a face into the conversation at a trade show, to really meet with potential partners and to have a good networking opportunity with German companies.
Yeah, thanks, Franziska. Obviously, whenever, depending on what sector you operate in and what area, we can always get you information on the relevant trade shows and events. Also, DIT is more than happy to provide these information, I guess. I just want to also highlight that we usually engage in most of the major trade shows, like Medica, Bauma, Provine, etc. So it's always wise to look out what activities we have there, and the great team from DIT as well. So we are engaged there as well. So I'm conscious of time, so I guess I want to round up here. Thank you all for being part of this. In particular, thanks to all the speakers for your contribution and for being in the chat and the question and answer session. I guess if you have any specific questions, reach out to us. You have all our contact details, and we're basically more than happy to help you and get you get your foot into the door in the German market. So that's us. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and hopefully we talk soon.